That is absolutely not true, and I think it's disgusting.
If you've been watching Basketball Wives since the early days, then you know Jennifer Williams and Evelyn Lozada weren't just co-stars, they were like sisters. They had each other's backs through everything until it all fell apart. There was that messy fallout years ago, then the public makeup, a few laughs, some shade, and now right back to square one. But this time, Jennifer didn't come to play. She didn't come to rehash old tea or throw petty shade. She came ready with files, screenshots, and a lawyer on speed dial. Yep, she's officially filing a case. And it all connects back to a man named Christian, someone who came into Jennifer's life looking like the perfect partner, but turned out to be the start of something way darker. And what really blew everyone's mind? The way Evelyn might have been tied into it the whole time. So let's get into it because we're talking real hurt, real receipts, and real consequences.
The thing about me is I tell my story, and I've been telling my story. The convicted felon stuff is not breaking news to the internet. You can say whatever you want to say about me, but don't bring my kids in this. They poked the bear, now I'm up.
All right, so let's talk about this man, Christian. Cause listen, he didn't just walk into Jennifer's life by accident. Jennifer met him through mutual friends. She was in a place where she wanted peace, stability, maybe even something serious again. And Christian, he gave off that calm, confident vibe. He even threw around phrases like generational wealth, legacy, and divine purpose. You already know how that sounds when someone's trying to impress. At first, Jennifer believed him. She wasn't just smitten. She really thought this was her fresh start. She said she felt like, finally, this was someone who wasn't just after fame or clout. Someone with his own bag. Someone who didn't care about the cameras, but real ones watching from the sidelines. They already saw what was coming. Behind all that smooth talk, Christian was dropping some wild promises. He kept pushing business deals that didn't feel right, telling Jennifer to invest in projects he never fully explained. He was vague with details, quick with excuses, and even quicker to talk about big returns that never came. Then it got worse. Jennifer noticed her money wasn't where it was supposed to be. Bank transfers didn't match. Some of her accounts were moving in ways she hadn't approved. People she trusted started warning her, telling her Christian wasn't who he said he was. But like a lot of people in love, Jennifer didn't want to believe it. She later opened up and said, "I thought I was building a future. Turns out I was funding a fraud." That says everything. Turns out Christian had a pattern. This wasn't just one little scam gone wrong. He had a habit of pulling women in with the spiritual talk and then bleeding them financially behind the scenes. And Jennifer wasn't the first or the last. But what makes this whole thing go from shady to real messy is when Evelyn's name gets brought into the mix.
So it was hard for me at first, but I was like, this is what I chose. And I have to man up and understand that no matter what I do, the age difference, no matter what I do, good or bad, right or wrong, people have something to say. You know what I'm saying?
Now, this is where everything flips. Because while Jennifer was dealing with all this chaos behind closed doors, she found out something that changed how she saw everything, including her friendship with Evelyn. Turns out, Evelyn knew Christian way before Jennifer even met him. This was a guy Jennifer thought she had met on her own terms. But now she's finding out her best friend might have had prior ties to him. At first, Evelyn tried to play it off, said she barely knew the man, claimed they were never really close, just some guy she maybe crossed paths with once or twice. No big deal, right? But Jennifer started pulling receipts. And y'all, it got ugly. She found DMs, screenshots, and tagged photos, posts on social media showing Evelyn and Christian hanging out way before he ever showed up in Jennifer's life. Not just random run-ins either. These looked like real hangouts, group events, maybe even dates. And then the rumors started flying. Some folks started whispering that Evelyn and Christian might have had a thing before he ever dated Jennifer. Nothing long-term, but enough to raise eyebrows, enough to break that girl code. If that's true, that's betrayal. Jennifer said she was blindsided. Evelyn had never mentioned knowing Christian in that way. And now, with the receipts coming out, it's hard to believe Evelyn's version of the story. Evelyn still says, "We weren't close, I barely knew him." But let's be real, if there's DMs, pictures, and tagged posts out there, That doesn't exactly scream stranger. And you could tell Jennifer felt hurt, not just by Christian, but by her so-called friend. She thought she could trust Evelyn, that when things got dark, Evelyn would be there. But now it's looking like Evelyn either knew something and stayed quiet, or worse, she was in on it. And that's when Jennifer realized this wasn't just about a bad relationship, it was about lies, secrets, and feeling like the people closest to you were all playing you behind your back. And y'all know Jennifer doesn't play when she's fed up. So let's jump to the reunion, because this is where the whole thing blew up. Jennifer didn't walk in like someone trying to play nice. She came with receipts and was done being quiet. She looked Evelyn straight in the face and laid it all out. She starts going down the timeline, how she met Christian, how he sold her dreams, how the money started disappearing. Then she pulls out a text, one that stopped everybody in their tracks. It was from Christian. And in that message, he literally says Evelyn knew about what he was doing. Let that sink in. Evelyn, Jennifer's supposed friend, allegedly knew Jennifer was being scammed and didn't say a word. Jennifer read the message out loud. The cast was dead silent. Even the producers, who are usually all over the place trying to stir the pot, looked like they didn't know how to move. Evelyn tried to act unbothered. She rolled her eyes, called Jennifer dramatic, tried to flip the script by saying Jennifer was just bitter about the relationship ending and trying to make her look bad. But Jennifer wasn't having it, and then she dropped that line. You let me burn in the same fire you already escaped. The room froze. Nobody said a word after that, because in one sentence, Jennifer said it all. This wasn't about jealousy or drama or clout. This was about real life damage. She was emotionally, financially, and publicly humiliated. And now she's finding out that someone she trusted might have had the power to stop it and didn't. That one quote, it hit hard. Even folks who didn't rock with Jennifer had to respect how raw and real that moment was. And Evelyn, she didn't have much left to say. She kept pushing the same line, I didn't really know him like that. But by that point, with the receipts Jennifer brought, the cast wasn't buying it. Now, if that wasn't enough, after the reunion aired, Jennifer's DMs started flooding with messages. Women she'd never met were reaching out, sharing their own stories about Christian. Stories that sounded exactly like hers. Different names, same scam. Some women said Christian used the same spiritual lingo, the same investment promises. Others said he got them to trust him emotionally, then dipped after taking money or access to their business contacts. But the real shocker? Some of these women weren't strangers. A few were connected to basketball wives. One former cast member, someone who dipped from the show a few seasons back, reached out and told Jennifer she had warned Evelyn about Christian years ago, and not long after giving that warning, she left the show altogether. No exit story, no closure, just gone. So now the question is, did Evelyn really not know anything? Because if someone told her Christian was dirty before Jennifer even started dating him, then why act brand new when everything went down? Jennifer started putting the pieces together. This wasn't just a case of a man being shady, this was a full-blown pattern. Christian had been moving like this for a long time, and there's a real chance some people in Jennifer's circle knew it, but chose to stay quiet. And honestly, that might be the most painful part, because getting played by a man is one thing, but being betrayed by people you thought were your friends, that's something else.
And so one thing I love about my relationship with Christian, we have respect for each other. Granted, we're gonna disagree about things, but the way you speak to someone, it is everlasting.
Jennifer finally said enough is enough. After all the lies, gaslighting, and shady moves, she took it to the next level. Legal action. She officially filed a case against Christian. And this wasn't just about money. She's accusing him of fraud, emotional distress, and financial manipulation. And unlike before, she didn't just come with stories. She came with evidence. She had bank transfers showing large amounts sent to Christian with no returns. screenshots of texts where he made promises, pitched deals, and even tried to guilt trip her when she asked for answers. Plus, there were witness statements from people who saw what was going on behind the scenes, people who backed up Jennifer's version of events. Once the case was mentioned on set, everything shifted. Jackie Christie and Brooke Bailey, who had been quiet for most of the drama, took Jennifer's side immediately. Legal teams stepped in to review what could and couldn't be said on air. That's how real it got. No more reality show editing. This was a real woman fighting to get justice, on camera and off. And finally, Evelyn breaks her silence. She went on record saying she never introduced Christian to Jennifer. She said Jennifer was emotional, hurt, and trying to drag her down out of spite. Her whole defense? That this was never her mess to begin with. But the problem, by then, it was already too late. Receipts had been shown, other women had come forward, too many dots had been connected, and the viewers, they were paying attention. Some people still believed Evelyn's version, but a lot more were side-eyeing her hard, especially after Jennifer dropped one final line right before the segment ended. "I'm done protecting people who'd bury me to save face." That hit deep. And right after she said it, the network cut to commercials like it was just another scene. But everyone watching knew it wasn't just another scene. That line told a whole story on its own. Meanwhile, social media is still arguing. Some folks defending Evelyn, others writing hard for Jennifer. A person commented saying, "Evelyn has been moving funny for years. I believe Jennifer 100%. She ain't never pulled receipts unless it was facts." Another one added, "The saddest part is Jennifer wasn't just scammed by a man, she was betrayed by a friend who smiled in her face while watching her fall." Now we want to hear from you. Do you believe Evelyn truly didn't know anything about Christian? Was Jennifer right to expose everything at the reunion? And what would you do if you found out your friend was keeping a secret like that? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates.